could tell you how we arrived in San Cristóbal de las Casas under massive storm. How we had to stop 3 kilometers before our destination because the streets had turned into rivers. I could tell you how it quickly became our favorite city in Mexico and how, in another life, we might have stayed here for a while. But today, I want to tell you a different story. One that I found incredibly important and deeply inspiring. My name is Leah. I'm crossing the Americas by motorcycle, from the Arctic Ocean in Canada to Patagonia in Argentina. Right now, I'm in Chiapas, in the south of Mexico. And this is where I want to tell you the story of the Zapatistas. I first learned about them a few years ago and their story stuck with me. I read everything I could find and that became one of the main reasons I wanted to come here. But I also realized that not that many people know about them anymore. Today, I want to share the story with you. It's not going to be a full detailed account. I'm not a historian. This video is meant to be a starting point, an introduction, and if it sparks your curiosity, I'll let some book and documentary recommendation in the description. On January 1st, 1994, while political leaders across North America were celebrating the launch of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, a group of armed indigenous people entered several towns in Chiapas. They seized municipal buildings, released prisoners, and declared war against the Mexican government.
Hoy se inició la guerra, la revolución, aquí en la ciudad de San Cristóbal de las Casas, Chiapas.
They called themselves the EZLN, the Zapatista Army of National Liberation. And they had a message: Ya basta, enough is enough. They weren't fighting to take power. They were fighting to be seen, to be heard, to exist. In the first communiqué, they say they were fighting for land, democracy, justice, dignity, and indigenous rights. To understand why they rose up, we need to look at Chiapas. It's one of the richest states in natural resources, forests, oil, rivers, but it's also one of the poorest, especially for its indigenous population. For centuries, indigenous communities here have been pushed off their lands, exploited by large landowners, ignored by the states. Access to health, care, education, even clean water was almost non-existent in rural villages. Then came NAFTA. Suddenly, small-scale indigenous farmers had to compete with cheap, subsidized corn from the United States. It was a death sentence for traditional agriculture. The Zapatistas saw this as more than economic injustice. It was a continuation of colonization.
Es una acción en contra del interés nacional. Este grupo armado está en contra de México.
The Mexican government reacted fast and violently. Within days, thousands of troops were deployed to Chiapas. There were bombing, displacement, arbitrary arrests. Entire villages were surrendered. People fled into the jungle. The military siege lasted weeks. But one thing the government didn't expect was the wave of international solidarity. Suddenly, people all over the world started asking, who are the Zapatistas? Protests erupted in Mexico City. Activists in Europe, North America, and Latin America showed support. Journalists came to Chiapas. Human rights organizations started reporting on the repression.
The media is Marcos's long-range missile. To keep the world's attention on the Zapatistas, Marcos must continually reinvent himself and the imagery of the revolution.
The government had no choice but to shift gears. It stopped the bombing, started negotiating, signed peace agreements it never really intended to respect. The Zapatistas, after years of broken promises, decided to stop asking for change and to start building it themselves. They withdrew from the public stage and they built. They built caracoles, autonomous zones governed by indigenous communities. They created their own health clinics, where doctors speak local languages. Their own school teaching history from the indigenous perspective. Cooperatives to sell coffee, crafts, crops. Everything is organized collectively. There are no politicians, no hierarchies. Decisions are made in assemblies, slowly, by consensus. This is not fast, this is not efficient, but this is democratic, radically so. And in a world that runs on profit and speed, that is revolutionary. One of the most radical parts of the movement is the role of women. From the beginning, Zapatista women demanded change, not only from the state, but from within their own communities. They wrote the Women's Revolutionary Law, which included the right to choose their partners, to not be forced into marriage, to participate in decision-making, and to live free from violence. Many of them joined the armed struggles. Today, they lead assemblies, schools and cooperatives. In a context where machismo is still strong, their presence and power is striking.
Por el pájaro enjaulado, por el pez en la pecera, por mi amigo que está preso, porque ha dicho lo que piensa, por las flores arrancadas, por la hierba pisoteada, por los árboles podados, por los cuerpos torturados, yo te nombro libertad.
Over the years, the Zapatistas have become more than a regional movement. They have become a symbol for anti-globalization activists in the 2000s, for indigenous resistance across America, for thinkers, artists, rebels around the world. They have organized encuentros, international gatherings where people come to Chiapas to learn, share and connect. They've shown that a small, rural, marginalized community can speak to the whole planet. Not because they have all the answers, but because they ask the right questions. Walking around San Cristóbal today, you still feel it. The murals, the bookstore, the handmade Zapatista crafts, the conversation in the streets, the indigenous presence that's no longer invisible. The city is more political than most, more alive. It's not just a tourist destination. It's a place where ideas grow. Of course, there are contradictions. Tourism has changed things, but the movement is still present. I'm not indigenous, I am not Mexican, and I'm not pretending to understand fully the movement from the inside. But I can tell you what it feels to be here, to know that just outside of the city, people are building something radically different. To know that while the world burns, they're planting hope. One harvest, one assembly, one school at a time. Zapatistas remind me that resistance doesn't always look like protest. Sometimes it looks like a community, like patience, like care. They're not perfect, but they are powerful. And in a world where it's easy to feel powerless, that means everything.